Hello, everyone. I'm Xenia Beltrán, Head of Big Data at Life Supporting Technologies at Politécnica University of Madrid and coordinator of the PharmaLedger project. Together with Miguel Gaspar, who is the project operations manager at Hospital do Espírito Santo de Évora in Portugal, we're going to present the PharmaLedger project, as well as the perspective from the hospital, okay, of having blockchain-driven clinical trials. We would like to thank all the people from the audience that have joined us today for this panel led by PharmaLedger in this great and virtual event organized by the Clinical Trials Europe. I'm going to start this presentation by introducing what is the PharmaLedger project. What are we doing? Which areas of healthcare we're applying blockchain, which are called our use cases. After, I'm going to present the perspective from the Évora Hospital regarding the importance, impact, potential of adoption of some of the use cases that are being developed in PharmaLedger, in which we're applying blockchain, such as clinical trial recruitment and clinical supply chain. So let's start. What is PharmaLedger? PharmaLedger is a project that is sponsored by Innovative Medicines Initiative, which is known in the European Commission as IMI, as well by the European Federation of Pharmaceutical Industries and Association, also known as EFPIA. PharmaLedger is a 3-year project. It started in January 2020, aiming at having the vision to benefit the entire healthcare ecosystem, going from the pharma manufacturers to the patients. For this project, we have put together a consortium of 29 public and private entities, including global pharmacies, technical partners, universities, research organizations, hospitals, and patients organizations. Our goal as a project is that under one consortium, these 29 partners collaborate to create an agile and secure blockchain-enabled platform that supports, on the top of it, decentralized and trustless healthcare solutions by nature that will share data in a way that data and processes work under a design, legal, and ethical framework, which is compliant with current and envisioned standards, and allows security of information, making that data and processes are linked together under the PharmaLedger platform services. Looking at this slide, we can say that in PharmaLedger, we're working in rethinking trustable and suitable environments for exchanging data in a healthcare ecosystem. How are we doing this? We're developing the PharmaLedger platform, which is intended to create capabilities and infrastructure that allows secure, permissioned, auditable, and patient-mediated exchange of data, serving as a single source of truth for the pharma ecosystem. The 4-layer architecture that you can see in the slide has on the upper layer the solutions and applications being developed as use cases, while in the other 3 layers, we ensure that data has self-sovereignty, and this is done by integrating a new concept so-called OpenDSU. The OpenDSU stands for Open Data Sharing Units, which is the technology that works as a container for data and the code being built in the blockchain. The DSU is cryptographically secure, anchored in the blockchain, and in control of the user, defining a standard manner on how to store data and code outside of the blockchain. We also integrate other elements that support the DSU, such as digital wallets, which allow users to interact in the blockchain. In PharmaLedger, right from the start of the project, our goal has been to be technology agnostics, remain as neutral as possible to the blockchain technology selected by each case solution, meaning that the architecture and the OpenDSU technologies support any kind of programmable blockchain technology, any kind of self-sovereign identities and other certificate standards. With this approach, we combine the benefits of blockchains such as integrity, traceability, non-repudiation, while preserving the confidentiality, data privacy for the data owners. We, at PharmaLedger, want to remain technology neutral, so in the future, we can also integrate with any other common blockchain technology. As commented, on the top of the architecture, we're building the PharmaLedger use cases. These use cases have been clustered in 3 domains of reference: health data, and we have personalized medicine and clinical trial recruitment use cases, clinical trials, and we have the medical device IoT and e-consent use cases, and the supply chain. In the area of the supply chain, we have use cases for clinical supply traceability, finished good traceabilities, e-leaflet or EPI, and counterfeiting as such. When putting together the use cases of PharmaLedger, we can say that they are linked and can be shown as part of the upstream and downstream path of the healthcare value chain, depending on the stakeholder's perspective. Thus, in PharmaLedger, we're using blockchain to support a network of connected partners with interoperable and secure data sharing unit schemas for sharing data and process in a way that is transparent while collaborating in real time. We believe that in PharmaLedger, we will increase the digital trust among pharma supply chain and the healthcare stakeholders, support medicine drug traceability and data privacy, as well as build a new culture of collaboration of sharing data in healthcare under enhanced security, compliance with data protection rules, and the interoperability schemas. Personally, I think that the great value of the data visibility generated when you can take informed and knowledgeable and timely decisions is very important. We can say that something that COVID pandemic has made it clear, it was that we were not ready to facilitate access to data in a way that researchers, scientists, doctors, government, and pharma industry could share it to make it useful for us and to patients and to society. We really hope that PharmaLedger and the different initiatives being in this event support trusted enabled solutions that can create value to all stakeholders through interoperable platforms that manage digitalized as well as accessible, immutable, and traceable data. With this message, I would like to close introduction for the PharmaLedger project, and it's my pleasure to introduce and get over Miguel from the Évora Hospital, so he can provide the perspective of the hospital regarding the clinical trial recruitment and clinical supply chain. So Miguel.
Well, thank you. I'm going to start by giving a little bit of an introduction on the current situation in our hospital. So here in Évora, the hospital regarding clinical trials is naturally tailored to the region's needs. Since we have an older demographic, it makes sense that we focus on the conditions that are common to our patients, such as heart conditions and obesity-related issues. And that, of course, also translates to our focus on clinical trials in these areas mainly, but not exclusively. Outside of that, our main pain point regarding clinical trials is visibility, because we are not in the capital, we are in a big region, but our region doesn't have a lot of people. So our collaboration opportunities are not yet optimized. And also we would like to harmonize and homogenize the way our workflow currently works. So nowadays, how it works is an interested party speaks directly to a physician or researcher they already know, or who are already interested in participating. This isn't inherently a bad thing. We would just like to have a more coherent workflow inside of our hospital, so we have a steady stream of information flowing.
This is great. Miguel, so how, in your view, on your perspective, clinical trials recruitment can be supported, for example, for blockchain?
Mm-hmm. So nowadays, there's a real possibility to use blockchain technology to drive the health industry forward. And since there's a long need for the digitization of the ecosystem and a demand for platforms to allow and facilitate GDPR compliance, this use case is important for this purpose. One of the main issues that this use case tries to tackle is the overall spending. It's very expensive to recruit patients. And an overhaul of how this works can be beneficial for all parties involved. For example, for the patients, instead of registering in multiple websites and submitting their data to several sources, their time would now be valued with a single registration on this platform, and their one-time data submission would match them to their desired clinical trials. And of course, that would respect the patient's privacy and anonymity during the matching process. I think this also would highlight blockchain's core strengths. No party is in charge. There is no ownership of the platform per se. All the sponsors would be on equal footing. It creates a registry of submitted trials by sponsor, and this would help with the legitimacy of the platform. And lastly, because we all know that we tend to use things that we trust the most, creating this platform that saves matching attempts and then gives the patient an idea of why you were matched or not matched to a desired trial would give the patient a better understanding of how the process works. So it would be a transparent process even for the patient. For example, the last year was very educational for the main public in general regarding the COVID pandemic. So we would try to mimic the information flow of the patient being informed. So we are trying to aim also for having an informed patient/user.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so having this perspective, okay, how does Évora Hospital participate in the PharmaLedger clinical trial recruitment and clinical supply chain? How do you see it, and how do you see the benefits?
Mm-hmm. So as of now, our hospital is not directly involved in the clinical trial recruitment, but we are nonetheless very interested in the future applications and the possibilities of it, mainly because of the points we already discussed before, with the research and implementation of a search criteria and allowing data sharing only with the entity the patient matches with. Regarding clinical supply chain is another synergistic use case with clinical trials. The hospital is involved as an end user, where it will participate as a site that receives products, medication. The main goal here would be to allow a greater visibility of the supply chain. It is important to understand where there is less visibility during the transportation of medication, of a product, as this is something that can impact, for example, a clinical trial where a product is being tested for a specific condition. And the overall condition of the product must be optimal. For example, if there is a delay in the supply chain to point A, and then point B is not alerted, then point B cannot alert our hospital. So we do not know what's going on. And there's a delay, we have no response. So the main goal here would be to find these weaknesses, because there are a lot of parameters that are important to track through a supply chain, which can make or break hospital activities, and understanding them, knowing what they are and how to either avoid them or eliminate them would benefit greatly, not only the transportation chain, but a clinical trial where we are, experimenting with the medication and we need it in perfect conditions.
Great. So to give something specific to our audience, okay, and how can you summarize, and how do you see specifically that blockchain technology can help the clinical trials?
Well, I think blockchain could be a natural fit for the clinical trial industry, including tracking medication used in clinical trial, like I said before, ensuring the integrity and immutability of data, documents from clinical trials, improving patient consent collection and management. And collectively, these efforts would reduce friction in conducting clinical trials and would increase trust in their outcomes. Not only that, but this platform would enable patients to exchange their health data with study sponsors, such that a match to relevant clinical trials that they want to participate in would be found. Like I said before, there's no need to register on several websites as a patient, and blockchain technology would give patients the confidence to share their data, knowing that their data is being used to their benefit under their control and in strict accordance with data privacy regulation. And these sets of characteristics, I believe, would highlight the strengths of our hospital as well. A dedicated and specific search by patients would lead to more visibility, and we could establish ourselves as leading clinical trial participants in our region, and at the same time pioneering digital health data, the digitization of the healthcare ecosystem in Portugal.
Mhm. So actually we have the slide here. So this sharing data is what we, I'm sorry, is this what we can call the e-consent?
Exactly. And of course, the whole platform, the blockchain-based platform that PharmaLedger aims to build has to be accompanied by an e-consent use case that leverages the status of digital consent provided by participants. So not only do they have to submit their data, but they have to consent to when the platform tries to match them with their desired clinical trials. Ideally, you submit your data, and when you are looking for a trial, you consent to your data being used to match you to a relevant trial. Having an e-consent use case alongside a clinical trial recruitment is very important because they're both interconnected to this platform that PharmaLedger aims to build, and user privacy, of course, is absolutely essential in this process. I would say the overall goal is to empower the user, giving them the confidence and knowledge of what they are consenting to and allowing the platform to do. So they would be completely informed of all relevant conditions that the platform offers them.
This is great, thank you. So now looking at the future, how do you think are the future perspective of our hospital or Évora hospital and the healthcare industry in this context?
Well, again, to me, it's really important, the digitization of the healthcare ecosystem, which would be a major turning point in workflow for our hospital. Not only that, but the scientific benefits coupled with social benefits. A modernized hospital being a part of a clinical trial platform that promotes visibility and patient privacy would lead to better and more innovation opportunities for the whole ecosystem, which ultimately would result in a better service for us in our population. Overall, it would reduce the spending in the first stage of clinical trial, the recruitment, with more effort being put into later stages of the process. So the focus would shift from early pain points to later stage pain points. We would promote patient proactivity while preserving their privacy. So respecting their time and their data would increase their trust in the platform. And at the same time, a transparent approach would make the process more accessible and understandable for the patients. A blockchain-based platform guiding digital workflow, so clinical trial availability, the terms and conditions, the consent would all be in this platform. It would improve overall health data management and system interoperability, which is also important in our hospital. Try to find a bridge between the system we have now and a future system where we can integrate data. So that would mean no more silos. We do not want isolated data. We do not want data to become useless in our eyes. And finally, better and more collaboration opportunities between healthcare providers, such as ourselves, and pharmaceutical companies and research centers.
This is great. So to close and to give to the audience the main message, what would be the main takeaway that you would provide from this presentation and from PharmaLedger project to the audience?
I believe that the PharmaLedger project, the main takeaway here for these use cases is to empower patients while at the same time increasing the digital trust, because it's a digital platform, between the stakeholders, while supporting the medicine drug traceability with the clinical supply chain use case, data privacy with e-consent, as well as building, forming a new dynamic, a new culture of collaboration and sharing data in healthcare under enhanced security, always with the patient in mind. Complying with data protection rules, the GDPR, and finding ways to make systems integrate with others, so with interoperability schemas.
Great. So thank you, Miguel. This is great, and great for sharing the perspective from the hospital. So thanks a lot to you, and thanks a lot to the Clinical Trial Europe audience, that it has been an honor to present PharmaLedger, and for sure to present the perspective from the Évora Hospital in Portugal. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope just to see you in the next CTE event. So we hand it over the next panel. So thanks again, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.